50 Cent just pulled off something wild. One of the most streamed rappers of the 2000s just had the biggest Spotify day of his entire career, and it didn't come from a new album, a hit single, or a TikTok dance. It came from a documentary he produced about his biggest rival, Sean Diddy Combs. Now he's teasing even more. New details about an alleged child Diddy supposedly has with a woman who used to date 2Pac, plus never before seen footage that didn't even make the Netflix series. So how did a docuseries turn into the best streaming day of his life? And what does it mean if 50 really drops this extra footage? Let's talk about it. First, big picture. For anybody who's been off the grid, 50 Cent executive produced a Netflix docuseries about Diddy that dives into years of accusations, lawsuits, and behind-the-scenes behavior people in the industry had been whispering about for a long time. It's 4 parts, packed with interviews from former friends, employees, and people who say they were victims. The series shoots straight to the top Netflix. Everybody's talking about it. Social media is flooded with clips, reactions, breakdowns, debates. You can't scroll for more than a few minutes without seeing someone mention Diddy or 50, and then the streaming numbers for 50's music come in. On Spotify, across everything his name is attached to, he has the best day of his career. We're talking millions and millions of streams in a single day. Classic songs from Get Rich or Die Trying start climbing again like it's 2003 all over. People are binge watching the doc and then binge playing the music that made him a star in the first place. That right there shows you how powerful narrative is. You watch a doc, you get pulled back into a certain era, and your brain goes, hold on, let me run Many Men in Doc Club 21 Questions real quick. Even people who weren't outside when 50 first blew up are discovering the catalog for the first time. Older fans are revisiting it with new context. And from a business angle, that's exactly the lane 50 has been living in for years. He's not just the rapper 50 Cent anymore. He's a producer, a showrunner, a storyteller. He turned Power into a whole TV universe. He helped bring BMF and other projects to life. Now he's doing the same thing in the documentary space. So this doc series does 2 things at once. On one side, it puts even more attention on Diddy's legal and public image problems. On the other side, it boosts 50's brand as a guy who exposes things, tells stories, and isn't scared to go at powerful people. And that energy translates into streams, attention, and leverage. Now let's talk about the new tease he just dropped. Because according to 50 himself, what we saw in the Netflix doc is not everything he's sitting on. He's been out here saying there's unreleased material, stuff that didn't fit into the final cut, that he's thinking about releasing separately, possibly online. One of the pieces he mentioned has everybody's attention. He claims there's a segment about Diddy allegedly having a child with a woman who used to date 2Pac. Now, a couple things are important here. We're talking about claims and allegations, not confirmed facts. We haven't seen documents, DNA tests, or any official statements proving that situation. What we have is 50 saying there's footage and information that got left on the cutting room floor, and he's debating whether to put it out. If he actually releases that segment, it won't just be another gossip moment. For a lot of fans, anything that connects Diddy, 2Pac, and a secret child is going to stir up old feelings about the East versus West era, the Bad Boy versus Death Row era, and all the conspiracy theories people have argued about for decades. On top of that, 50 is also talking about never-before-seen footage that didn't make the doc. We've already seen clips in the series of Diddy on the phone with his lawyer. We've seen behind-the-scenes moments right before big legal moves, and we've seen personal footage that raises questions about how it was even obtained. If he has even more of that type of material, phone calls, private moments, conversations people haven't heard, it could deepen the narrative even further. But here's where it gets tricky. Diddy and his team have been pushing back hard. They've called the series one-sided. They've said some footage was used without proper authorization. Family members have come out saying parts of it are lies, exaggerations, or missing key context. His side is making it very clear they see this as a hit piece, not a fair documentary. So if 50 drops extra footage and new claims online, you can almost guarantee more legal smoke. Questions like, Was this footage cleared? Are the people being talked about okay with it going public? Is this exposing the truth or just escalating a feud? From 50's perspective, though, this is exactly his lane. This is the same guy who built a career off saying things most people were too scared to say on a record. Now, instead of diss tracks, he's using series, interviews, and long form storytelling. The energy hasn't changed, only the format and the stakes. What makes all of this even more interesting is that while all these heavy topics are playing out, his music is benefiting. Think about it. A documentary meant to expose another man's alleged crimes and behavior ends up giving the producer of that doc the biggest streaming win of his career. It's like his past as an artist and his present as a media mogul fused together for one giant spike. And that raises some bigger questions about the culture we're in. When we watch these docuseries about artists, billionaires, scammers, cult leaders, are we tuning in for justice and information? Or are we also being entertained by real people's trauma? When someone like 50 Cent puts his rival under a microscope and then sees his bag get bigger from streams, deals, and new opportunities, is that just smart business? Or does it blur the line between exposing the truth and profiting from someone else's downfall? At the same time, a lot of people would argue, if this stuff really happened, if people were really hurt, then it should be exposed, no matter who gets a streaming boost out of it. Others would say, these are still allegations. Let courts, investigations, and evidence do their job before the internet turns somebody into a permanent villain. That's why it's important to keep it balanced. Yes, there are serious accusations against Diddy. Yes, there are people who feel validated by this documentary because they've been saying for years that something was off. But there are also denials, disputes over footage, and arguments that the series leaves out context or doesn't show Diddy's side in full. And if 50 actually releases extra material, especially something as explosive as claims about a secret child connected to a woman from 2Pac's past, that's going to make the conversation even louder, but not necessarily clearer. More content doesn't automatically mean more truth. Sometimes it just means more noise, more reaction videos, more debates, more division. One thing that isn't in question, though, is 50's impact. He's managed to turn a long-running rivalry into a major streaming win, shift from being just a subject of media to being a creator of media, put himself at the center of the conversation without dropping a new album. Whether you think he's doing it for justice, revenge, money, or all of the above, you can't deny he understands how attention works in 2025. Tell a big story, put it on a big platform, back it up with your own personality, and watch the numbers react. The real question is what happens next? Does he actually put this extra footage online? Does he really release those alleged details about the child situation tied to 2Pac's ex? Does Diddy's team respond with more statements or legal action? And from a fan perspective, how much more do people even want to see before they feel like they've had enough? For now, what we know is this. The docuseries is out. The streaming spike is real. The rivalry is hotter than ever. And 50 Cent is sitting in a unique position as both a participant in hip-hop history and a narrator of it. However this plays out, it's shaping up to be one of the most talked about chapters in his career, not just musically, but as a media figure who knows exactly how to turn controversy into conversation and conversation into numbers. We'll see what else he decides to drop. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you tapping in. You're locked in with the Short Clips podcast. Make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts on 50's doc and these new claims, and hit subscribe with the notification bell so you don't miss any of our next breakdowns. I'm out, and I'll catch you on the next one.